Hello and welcome to the Musical Instrument Investigator. Today we are on the website of Amati Auctions based in the UK, and we are having a look at their specialist auction, which is due to finish tomorrow on the 3rd of November. So it's the 2nd of November today. It finishes tomorrow, and the buyer's premium is 22%. Once again, if you're purchasing outside of the UK, if you're international, Europe, etc., please check all the specs for shipping fees, etc., etc. I can say about this auction that I've actually seen some of these lots in person. I was able to go to one of the viewing days. I didn't look at everything or look at everything in detail anyway, but I did look at a few things, and I have to say that it's quite interesting. So as we're looking at this auction a little bit later in the day, as it were, we can see some of the bids so far. Obviously on the last day everything changes very dramatically, but yeah, we can get a little bit of an indication of things, and I might even be able to pass some comments on a few items. So without further ado, let's begin. I very quickly looked around all the cellos, but I have to say that I didn't really spend that much time looking at them, unfortunately, because I was just too busy. Sadly. But anyway, without further ado, let's crack on. A Cello by Robert Ballantyne, Edinburgh, 1822. Let's have a look at the images here. Let's just have a quick look at the seam open on back. We won't look at all the condition reports, we'll look at a few things. So 1700 is the current bidding on that. So a cello by Thomas Kennedy, London, circa 1810. Current bid is 10,000. So Kennedy cellos are quite popular. There's a lot of interesting London cellos in this auction. A cello workshop of Chatro or Chatro Miracle, circa 1890. 5,000 is the current bid on that. So the cellos I didn't look at so much, sadly. A cello, School of Klotz, Mittenwald, circa 1720. 10,000 is the current bid on that. Seems to be quite a lot of things written on this condition report. Extensive damage in the front and woodworm damage at scroll. Considering the amount of woodworm in the scroll, there could be woodworm damage in the body that isn't visible. Interesting. Just about read that. A cello, probably Miracle, circa 1900, £1,600 is the estimate so far. I think we have about 200 lots in this auction, so there's quite a few things. Cello by Lawrence Cocker, Derby, 1961, 5,000 is the current bid. A cello, probably workshop of Neuner and Hornstein in Germany, circa 1900, 2,100 is the current bid. Interesting Lyon head there. I definitely didn't see that, or I must have gone past it so quickly that I didn't recognise. A contemporary cello, £1,800 is the current bid. A cello by Thomas Kennedy, London, 1837, 10,000 on that. Sold with a receipt of J&A beer, 1956. And a cello, possibly Central Italy, 19th century, 2,750 is the current bid on that. A cello, Germany, 1890, current bid 2,000. A cello, London, circa 1780, 1,400 is the bids on this so far. Looks like it needs a bit of work. A cello, circa 1910, 2,000 is the current bid. A cello, workshop of JTL, Miracle, circa 1920, 2,000 is the starting bid. A cello, workshop of Louis Lowendahl, Berlin, circa 1890, 2,500. This is the current bid. Looks like it needs a bit of repair. A contemporary cello, £800 is the current bid on that. Cello, London, circa 1710, starting bid 2,000. I did quickly look at this. Well, I say I looked at this from the front. I thought this looked very interesting, this cello, personally. Thought it was pretty cool. Later ahead, a cello by Lawrence Cocker Derby, 1967, 8,000 is the current bid there. A cello circa 1900, £1,400 the current bid there. A cello, Germany, circa 1890, current bid 3,000. A 3/4 size cello, workshop of Neun and Hornsteiner, Mittenwald, circa 1890, starting bid is 500. A cello, Germany, circa 1910, current bid is 2,200. Actually, really good selection of cellos in this auction, surprisingly so. Contemporary cello, current bid 750. That's quite a large body cello. Have to say, this is a very interesting auction, actually. Some really interesting items, especially in the violin land. A cello, Germany, 1840, starting bid is 2,000 on this. And a cello by James Bailey, Grimsby, 1904, current bid is 2,000. And a cello labelled Ragnar Hain, 1999, 3,000 is the starting bid on that. And a cello, possibly Genoa, 20th century. A cello, Germany, circa 1900. If you like cellos, this is really quite an interesting auction. Current bid 1,800. Some of the most cellos I've seen for quite a while. A cello, 20th century. And a cello, Germany, 1920. It's had some mechanical tuners on it at some stage. A cello, George Wilm Hudson, London, 1928, starting bid 20,000 there. A cello, circa 1880, starting bid 2,500 there. And then we're on to violas. So yeah, 32 cellos. That's actually quite a lot, to be fair. A viola by Gavin McAllister, Newark upon Trent, 1981. Current bid 650. Let's have a quick look through the photos. A viola by John Ray, London, 1915. Starting bid 3,000. I did loosely look at a few of the violas, but I don't recall looking at this one. Viola, Germany, circa 1910. Current bid is 2,100. A viola by Anthony Charles Carr, London 1997, current bid is £2,000. A viola, workshop of Richard Duke, London, circa 1760. Starting bid is £4,000. This I definitely looked at. I really like this actually. I think this is great. Really interesting viola. Let's just check the dimensions here. Body length 378. It's fairly small, but it's quite wide. This is interesting. A bit above my price range, but it's very interesting. A viola by Clifford A. Hoying, High Wycombe, 1953. Starting bid £5,000. This viola was bought directly from the maker by the vendor. Interesting. A viola by Rowan Armour Brown, Warwick, 1984. Starting bid is £3,000. Has a certificate from the maker. And a viola Mitwald, circa 1810. Current bid £1,100. And a viola by R.J. Sanders, Bexley, 1970, current bid £425. I think I loosely remember seeing this, but there were so many things, it's quite hard to see. A viola, France, circa 1920, current bid £1,200. And a Violin Miracle, circa 1940, current bid 2,300, so this is popular. In good condition, but it has like so it's got some appeal. A Viola, School of Ferber, London, circa 1820, starting bid 2,000. Yeah, very interesting geometric patterns on the back. That's quite a curious looking one. I wonder what the length of the back is. 382, so fairly small. A silver mounted cello bow by John Dodd for Lewis Panormo, current bid £3,000. A silver mounted cello bow by Johann Siegfried Finkel, starting bid 2,000 on that. Silver mounted cello bow, workshop of Albert Nürnberger, current bid is 425. Silver mounted cello bow, workshop of Finkel, current bid 325. And a silver mounted cello bow, workshop of JTL, current bid 1,100. Let's make sure that we didn't just miss on that. No, that's okay. And a silver mounted cello bow by John Stagg, current bid 800. Silver mounted cello bow by Roderick Paysold, Germany, current bid 240. Silver mounted cello bow by Eugene Sartori, Paris, starting bid 12,000. So reference certificate there. A silver mounted cello bow, possibly by Albert Nürnberger, circa 1900, current bid 1,000. Condition report updated. Let's see. Repaired lift on stick near lapping. Wear to adjuster. Okay, interesting. A silver mounted cello bow by Hermann Richard Frechner, Germany, current bid £800. A nickel mounted cello bow by Schicker, Germany, current bid 200. Silver mounted cello bow, Germany, current bid 160. Silver mounted cello bow, Germany, 20th century, starting bid 500. Nickel mounted cello bow by A. Hoyer, Germany, current bid 300. Silver mounted cello bow, 20th century, 425, so current bid. Nickel mounted cello bow, Germany, starting bid 100. Silver mounted cello bow by Thomas Porter, circa 1980, 1500 starting bid. A cello bow stick, current bid 550. Nickel mounted cello bow Dodd family, starting bid is 300. Silver mounted cello bow Germany, circa 1920, current bid 375. Silver mounted viola bow by Daniel Moynell, Paris, circa 1920, current bid 400. A silver mounted viola bow by Louis Morison Frere, Miracle, circa 1960, starting bid 5,000. A nickel mounted viola bow workshop of JTL, Miracle, current bid 600. Nickel mounted viola bow, probably Bausch workshop, current bid 400. Silver mounted viola bow by John Stagg, Bristol, starting bid 800. A Baroque viola bow by Roger Doe, current bid £230. It's snake wood there. Shape quite octagonal-ish. Interesting. A nickel mounted violin bow by Claude Auguste Thomasin, Paris, circa 1910, current bid 1,000. Silver mounted violin bow by Alfred Lamy Pear, Paris, circa 1890, current bid 4,000. A gold mounted violin bow by Joseph Arthur Vigneron Pear, Paris, circa 1895, starting bid 8,000 on that. A silver mounted violin bow workshop of Alban Hums, current bid 200. Silver mounted violin bow for E. Blondelet, Paris, circa 1920, starting bid 1,000. A silver mounted violin bow by Charles Bazin, current bid 325. A silver mounted violin bow, possibly Germany, circa 1910, starting bid 500. A silver mounted violin bow, Germany, circa 1920, starting bid 300. A silver mounted violin bow by Edwin August Prager, Markner Kirkin, starting bid 500, with a receipt from W.E. Hill and Sons. A silver mounted violin bow, Germany, early 20th century, starting bid 200. Nickel mounted violin bow, France, circa 1920, current bid 200. Silver mounted violin bow by W.E. Hills and Sons, current bid 2,000. And silver mounted violin bow stamped W.A. Frechner, Germany, circa 1910, starting bid be 500. A silver mounted violin bow workshop of Albert Nürnberger, Germany, starting bid 1,500. Silver mounted violin bow by Hermann Wilhelm Prell, current bid 400. A nickel mounted violin bow workshop of JTL Miracle, 1900, current bid 750. Nickel mounted violin bow workshop of August Edwin Prager, Germany, current bid 200. Gold mounted violin bow, France, 19th century, starting bid 5,000. A nickel mounted violin bow, Germany, current bid 200. Nickel mounted violin bow, probably workshop of Bazin, France, starting bid 500. Nickel mounted violin bow, current bid 200. Nickel mounted violin bow, 19th century, current bid 200. Nickel mounted violin bow, starting bid 400. Nickel mounted violin bow, 19th century. Nickel mounted violin bow by P.R. Wunderlich, Leipzig, starting bid 500 there. A silver mounted violin bow, probably France, circa 1920, starting bid 400. Silver mounted violin bow, Miracle, starting bid 500. Silver mounted violin bow, Miracle, circa 1910, current bid 550. Silver mounted violin bow by Eugene Sartori, Paris, circa 1910, current bid 8,000. Silver mounted violin bow by Ludwig Hermann, Germany, starting bid 400. A silver mounted violin bow by Johannes Paulus, Germany, current bid 550. Silver mounted violin bow by Albert Fischer, Germany, starting bid 500. A silver mounted violin bow stamped Joseph P. Gabriel, current bid 500. A silver mounted violin bow by Joseph P. Gabriel, current bid 600. Silver mounted violin bow by Matthias Thoma, starting bid 500 on that. A lot of bows in this auction. A nickel mounted violin bow by J.P. Gabriel, Erlangen, current bid 275. A silver mounted violin bow by Eugene Sartori, Paris, circa 1910, starting bid 16,000. Wow, so that's quite a high-end Sartori there. Sartori, let's have a quick look. Might as well look at the odd one or two in a bit more detail. Let's have a quick look what they say here. So it's not too bad, good condition. No bids though. Silver mounted violin bow by Marcel Lapierre, France. Starting bid 1500. It's got a Raffin certificate on it. Silver mounted violin bow for W.E. Hill and Sons, London. Starting bid 1000. Change to attribution. Interesting. What was it attributed to before? It's curious. Silver mounted violin bow by John Clutterbuck, Bicester. Current bid 850. Silver mounted viola bow, Germany, circa 1920. Current bid 240. Silver mounted violin bow for J&A Beer, London. Starting bid 1500. Silver mounted violin bow branded L. Frechner. Starting bid 400. A silver mounted violin bow, probably Bausch Workshop. Current bid 400. Silver mounted violin bow by Morison Frere, Miracle. Starting bid 1000. Silver mounted violin bow, Miracle, circa 1920. Starting bid 1500. A plastic mounted baroque bow by Lothar Seifert, Germany. Current bid 210. A silver mounted violin bow, workshop of Finkel. Current bid 350. A nickel mounted violin bow, workshop of JTL. Starting bid 1000. A gold mounted violin bow by H.R. Frechner, Germany. Current bid 800. Nickel mounted cello bow, Germany, 20th century. Current bid 325. Silver mounted violin bow, workshop of Finkel. Branded Leffin. Current bid 325. A silver mounted violin bow, Germany, circa 1920. Starting bid 800. Silver mounted violin bow, faintly stamped. Starting bid 1000. Silver mounted violin bow by Thomas Porter, London, circa 1980. Starting bid is 800. Silver mounted violin bow, circa 1900. Current bid is 400. Silver mounted violin bow, JTL, Miracle, circa 1900. Starting bid 600. Nickel mounted violin bow, Germany, circa 1910. Current bid 120. Nickel mounted violin bow, Germany, circa 1910. Current bid 120. Silver mounted violin bow, probably Germany, circa 1920. Current bid 300. Silver mounted violin bow, Germany, current bid 220. A nickel mounted double bass bow, Germany, starting bid 200. Now we've got the slightly bigger pictures now for these. And a nickel mounted double bass bow. And a silver mounted double bass bow. And now we're on to violins. A violin by C.H.J.B. Colin-Mazin, Paris, 1906, current bid 3,500. Receipt of Leslie Shepherd, Burgess Hill, 1953. So that's actually got quite a nice back. I probably saw this from the front but didn't actually look at it in more detail. A violin by a member of the Panormo family, 1810. Current bid 2,500. I did look at this actually. I wasn't too excited by it myself, but I'm sure there are some people that are very excited by it. A Violin Miracle, circa 1900, current bid 1,000. And a Violin France, circa 1870, current bid 2,750, so that's doing well. Actually did look at this in person. Actually, a friend asked me to look into this, and it's actually a nice looking violin, so not surprised about that really. A violin, probably workshop of Derazy, circa 1900, current bid £400 there, so it's interesting. A violin, Germany, circa 1910, starting bid is 400. Not so much interest in this one. A violin, possibly Klotz family Mittenwald, circa 1780. It's got a current bid of 3,000. I'm pretty sure that I did see this. I think I wasn't super enthralled by it. I'll let you get 3 versions of the scroll picture there. It's quite interesting. A violin circa 1900, starting bid is 2,500. So some work done there. A violin by George Pine, London, circa 1910, starting bid is 2,000. I don't think I had a look at this one. A violin by Martin Hilton, Oxford, 1995. Current bid is 500. I'll try and see a few more of these London viewings in person, probably starting next year if I can, now that things are starting to open up again, if I can get the time. A violin, probably by Joseph Hill, London, circa 1770. Starting bid is 3,000. I think I did have a look at this and it was fairly interesting. A violin by Alexandre Delanoy, Bordeaux, 1914. Current bid 4,250. It's got a Rampel certificate, so that's a popular one. That's the certificate there. Lots of good documents on Amati, so it's looking nice. A violin by Eugene Chatro, Lyon, 1900. Current bid 1,000. A violin, Germany, circa 1900, starting bid 600. I can safely say that this violin I did pick up is absolutely horrific. It's really not good, so well avoided on that one. A violin, London, circa 1820. Starting bids 600. I don't think I looked at this one. This I think is not really that nice, unfortunately. A violin by John Breckenridge, Glasgow, 1870. Starting bid 1,000. And a violin circa 1910, current bid 500. And a violin Mittenwald, circa 1820, starting bid 500. I don't recall seeing this. Very narrow waist, so I'm not sure if it would sound all that good. A violin by Chipot Violin Miracle, 1899, current bid 850. A violin workshop of Thomas Cahusac, circa 1780, starting bid 1,500 there. This was cool. This is a cool violin. I did like this. I like the work of Thomas Cahusac anyway, and this was actually, very interesting. In real life, it's a very dark and the purfling very bright white almost, so it's quite an interesting contrast. So that was a good violin. A violin probably by John Johnson, England, circa 1790. It's got a current bid of 1,500. I may have picked this one up. I cannot recall. Was only able to grab a few. Violin made for Hawks and Son, France, 1893. Starting bid 1,000. A violin, probably 19th century, starting bid 5,000 with the Guadagnini label. I think I picked this up, I vaguely remember. Interesting, yeah, interesting violin, hence that starting bid, but no one interested so far. A violin by Charles Francois Gand, Paris 1890, ex-Cooper collection, there you go, lot 303 in Sotheby's in 2008, starting bid 20,000. I have to say, this very heavy. I did pick this up, very heavy, not really too impressed for the money, in my opinion anyway, but we'll see how that goes. A violin, probably Bohemia, circa 1800s, got a current bid of 2,000 here. I don't think that I looked at this one. The case for this violin is lot 240 in this auction. Interesting. A violin by Julian Emery, England 1981, starting bid 800. A Brock violin, early 19th century, 1,000 is the current bid. This is cool. I looked at this, I like this a lot. It's a nice thing. It's quite small in a way, it's quite narrow, but interesting scroll. Yeah, I like this. This is good. Violin Miracle, circa 1920, starting bid is 1,500. No bids so far. A violin France 19th century, starting bid 2,000. A violin by Heinrich Schwartz, Leipzig, circa 1920, starting bid 750. Interesting back actually. A violin Mittenwald, circa 1900. Current bid is 400 on that. Good line. I think I might have picked this up actually. I don't think this was all that good in real life. Violin Miracle 19th century, current bid 500. A violin by Mansing Chan, London 1983, current bid £400 on that. Interesting back on that. Some nice detail on the scroll. A violin, London, circa 1780, starting bid 600. Longman label there. This I think I looked at and I think I quite liked it. I quite like that. I think that's alright if you could get it for 600 or so. I think that would be pretty good. Violin, England, circa 1780, current bid 325. Another interesting looking violin. A violin, France, circa 1900, current bid 650. A violin by Harry Radcliffe, Lockwood 1947, current bid £500. A violin, possibly John Lott II, London, circa 1845, current bid £210 with one bow. I'm interested to see what this goes up to because this has some next level woodworm, which I think is definitely a red flag for most people, but it is a curious looking violin. So extensive woodworm damage to front, back and ribs, you can see it all here, so it's a real interesting one, but Definitely curious to see how that goes. A Violin Miracle, circa 1890, current bid 1300. A Violin Mittenwald, circa 1870, current bid 1000. A Violin, probably Klotz Workshop, Mittenwald, circa 1730, current bid £500. Yeah, I picked this up. I wasn't keen. Did not like what was going on at the back there with the woodwormer tool. That was not nice. Yeah, definitely not sure about that one. A Violin by Charles and Samuel Thompson, London, circa 1770, starting bid 5,000. This just seems a little bit expensive, maybe, to me. Violin by Andrew Hume, Dumfries, 1913, current bid £1,900, so that's popular. A Violin for Haynes & Co, Miracle, 1892, current bid £1,300. A Violin, Carlson School, circa 1910, current bid 950 there. And onwards. A Violin, Germany, circa 1920, current bid 250. A Violin, Germany, circa 1890, starting bid 400. A Violin, Miracle, circa 1900, current bid 550. A Violin, early 20th century, current bid 45. It's one of these kind of tradey violins. Kind of a bit surprised that that's got such a high bid in a way. A Violin Miracle, circa 1880, starting bid 800. Violin Workshop of Francois Barzoni for Beer and Son Miracle, 1890, current bid 500. It's a good way to get through a bit quicker. A Violin ascribed to Luigi Chiaravale Faleri, circa 1830, current bid £500. This is actually quite interesting in a way. Interesting scroll there. Could be a good buy for someone. A Violin by Perry and Wilkinson, Dublin, circa 1822, starting bid £1,800. I definitely looked at this because I'm very interested in these Perry and Wilkinson violins, and I have to say that that I quite like this actually. But I don't think that it will, I'm not sure if it will sell because that seems a bit high. A Violin Miracle, circa 1910, current bid £800. Violin Miracle, circa 1860, starting bid is 500 on that. A Violin France, circa 1880, starting bid is 1800. A violin workshop of JTL Miracle 1920. Current bid is £700 for that. A violin workshop of Francois Bazzoni for Beer and Son Miracle 1902. Current bid is £500. And a violin by John Ferber, England, 1817, starting bid £2,500. Quite interested in these Ferber instruments. I think they're quite curious. A violin, Germany, circa 1890. Starting bid is £600. A Violin Miracle, circa 1880. Current bid is £600 there. A Violin Hawks and Son Miracle 1902. Starting bid is £1,000. Violin Mittenwald, circa 1860. Starting bid is £1,000. I think that I looked at this instrument and I actually quite like this. I have to say, F holes are a little bit interesting, but I do quite like it. Violin by James Ross, Aberdeen, circa 1840. Starting bid £500. I definitely looked at this. This is interesting for sure. The button is a bit mad on it, but yeah, I like this. That's cool. Violin by John Rayburn, St Andrews, 1907. Current bid at £1,500. A violin by Antonio Venturini, Cremona, 1983. Starting bid is £3,000. A violin Mittenwald, circa 1800. Starting bid £1,000. A violin by Alfredo Laurenti, Terni, 1932. Starting bid £1,000. Finished by Chris Johnson in 2013. Violin workshop of Antonio Lecce, Cremona, 1921. Starting bid £1,000. A violin Germany, circa 1800. Current bid £400. It's fairly interesting looking. A violin 19th century. Starting bid £800. And a violin possibly Neuner and Hornstein and Mittenwald, circa 1880. Starting bid is £1,000. And a violin circa 1900. Starting bid £1,800. A violin 20th century. Starting bid £400. A violin ascribed to G. Capi, Milan, 1891, starting bid 2,000. A violin, Averna family, Palermo, 1902, starting bid 2,500. Certificate of Reunion and Son, 2021. A violin by Carmine di Aguano, Naples, 1961, starting bid 2,500. An Italian violin, probably Lombardi, circa 1900. Current bid is 2,500. Certificate from Dimitri Gindin there. A violin by Nicolas Consin, Miracle, starting bid 2,000. A violin circa 1900. Current bid is 400. A violin by Marc Levert, Miracle, first half of the 20th century. Current bid 400. A violin, workshop of JTL, circa 1900. 210 is the current bid there. A violin by Alain Carbonell, Miracle, 1993. Current bid is 1,500. A violin, Miracle, circa 1900. Current bid is 300. A violin, possibly Johann Anton Gedler, Fussen, circa 1780. Current bid 3,000. So that's a popular one. Not my kind of shape, but clearly someone wants that or knows what it is, so there we go. A violin, probably Joseph Bassot, Paris, circa 1800. Starting bid is 12,000. Did have a quick look at this one. I looked at the Gedler as well. That's interesting. A violin by Jan van der Weyck, Hochem, 1986. Starting bid 400. A violin, Germany, circa 1900, starting bid at 300. A violin, 19th century, partially labelled, starting bid 1,500. This is definitely an interesting one, I'd say. A violin, 19th century, current bid 500. And a violin by Giovanni Battista Ruggeri, Brescia, circa 1670, property of a gentleman. Current bid is £40,000 there. The table probably Johannes Tononi, scroll probably Florence, so a bit of a composite there. edgework on top has been replaced. A few bits are replacing, 3 kind of different cracks and things that have been looked at. A violin, workshop of Concerto Puglisi, Catania, circa 1923. Starting bid is 2,000. A violin, 19th century, current bid 2,000. It's actually a very interesting looking violin. Don't think I quite saw that in person, but it's definitely interesting, that one. A violin by C.H.J.B. Colin-Mazafi, 1954, starting bid 1,500. A Violin Miracle, circa 1950, current bid is 1,500. A Violin Miracle, circa 1920, starting bid is 1,500. A Violin Miracle, circa 1860, current bid is 600. A Violin Miracle, circa 1910, starting bid 1,200. A Violin, workshop of Hilaire and Apparout, Miracle, 1947, current bid is 1,200. And a violin workshop of Lebert, Miracle, 20th century, starting bid is 1,500. A violin Miracle, circa 1890, starting bid 1,500. A Violin Miracle, circa 1920, starting bid 1,000. A Violin by C.H.J.B. Colin, Miracle, 1906, starting bid 1,000. A violin by Samuel Gilks, London, circa 1800, starting bid is £800 here. This was fairly interesting as well. Really cool back on that. Needs some repair, but definitely curious indeed. An interesting looking violin. Just quickly look at that back again. Yeah, definitely interesting. And onwards, a frame collection of 6 autographs, an antique violin case. That was the violin that we looked at before. Current bid 200. Universal Dictionary of Violin and Bow Makers. HVL Del Gesù. Master Italian violins, both for musical instruments, the violin makers of the Low Countries, Violin Bridges book, Amadeus, 40 Years in Pictures and Words, How to Make a Violin Bow, Dictionary of Violin and Bow Makers, Monograph Collections, Volume 1, 2 and 3. I think that might be it. I think that is potentially the end. 250 lots. Does that seem correct? I think so. So there you go. That's the end of the Amati auction. I have to say, very interesting auction, some really interesting lots, some very interesting violins and cellos and a whole range of things. So I'll put the link in the description and check it out and see what you think. And like I said, the auction finishes tomorrow, so have a look and see, and maybe you'll find something that you want to bid on. So yeah, good auction, good pictures, good information. Saw parts of it in person, very interesting stuff. So yeah, I definitely want to get out and see some more of the viewings in the future, probably in 2022 in the new season. So in any case, thanks a lot for watching, and until next time, ciao for now. Bye. Many thanks for tuning in to the Musical Instrument Investigator. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, then please like, subscribe and turn on notifications, and watch out for the next video coming soon.